Hi, I'm Brian, just your average guy who thought he had it all figured out. Married my college sweetheart, Melissa, 3 years ago, bought a modest house in the suburbs, and landed a decent job as an IT specialist. Life was pretty sweet, or so I thought. You're going to be an amazing dad, Brian, I can already tell, Melissa said, rubbing her belly when we found out she was pregnant. I believed her. I believed everything. 9 months later, our daughter Emma came into the world. 6 pounds, 4 ounces of pure perfection. Those first few weeks were a blur of midnight feedings and diaper changes, but I was all in. I got this, babe. You get some sleep, I told Melissa one night when Emma was fussing. She smiled at me, but looking back, there was something off about it, something distant. Then came that Tuesday, just a regular work day. I kissed Melissa and Emma goodbye, like always. See you tonight, love you both. Melissa nodded. Yeah, see you later. I should have known something was wrong. When I got home that evening, the house was quiet, too quiet. Melissa, Emma, you guys home? Nothing, no baby sounds, no wife, just silence. Their clothes were gone. The diaper bag, Emma's favorite stuffed rabbit. Everything important vanished. This doesn't make any sense, I said to myself, checking every room twice. My hands were shaking when I called her cell, straight to voicemail. I called my best friend James in a panic. Slow down, man, what do you mean they're gone? They're gone, James, like packed up and left gone. Emma is only 6 weeks old. Where would they go? Have you checked with her friends, her mom? I called everyone. No one had seen her, or so they claimed. My sister Sarah drove over as soon as I called her. Maybe she just needed some space, Brian. Being a new mom is hard. She would have said something, left a note. This isn't like her. My coworker Diane texted me that night. Just checking on you. You seem stressed today. Melissa and Emma are gone. No warning. Nothing. That's insane. What can I do to help? I couldn't sleep that night, or the next. I filed a missing persons report, but the cops weren't concerned. Sounds like a domestic situation, sir. No signs of forced entry. She likely left voluntarily. On the third day, I was desperate enough to check Melissa's iPad she'd left behind. That's when I found them. Text messages to someone named R going back months. He doesn't suspect anything, just a few more weeks. Once the baby comes, we can finally be together. I'll make him think everything is fine until we're ready. My world collapsed. Melissa hadn't been taken. She'd been planning this, planning to take my daughter, planning to shatter my life. And whoever this R was, they were in on it too. James, you need to come over now. I found something and I don't know what to do. The betrayal burned in my chest like acid. My wife, my daughter, my family, all gone, and it was no accident. James arrived at my place within 20 minutes, looking worried as hell. Holy shit, man, let me see those messages. I handed him the iPad, my hands still shaking. He scrolled through, his expression darkening. We need to find a lawyer, like yesterday. 2 days later, I was sitting across from Marcus Reynolds, a custody attorney with piercing eyes and a no-nonsense attitude. So your wife abandoned the marital home with your infant daughter, correct? And you have evidence of premeditation? Yes, these text messages, but I still don't know where they are. First step is locating them. I have an investigator who specializes in these cases. Not cheap, but worth every penny. The investigator delivered results faster than I expected. Melissa hadn't gone far. Just across town to a gated community where property values were triple what our little house was worth. She's living with a man named Richard Harlow, executive at Brighton Financial. They appear to have been involved for at least a year. My stomach twisted into knots. A year? We'd only been married 3. There's more, the investigator continued. She's been telling people you were abusive, that she fled for her safety. That's a damn lie. I never laid a hand on her. I believe you, but she's building a narrative. Several of her friends have posted on social media about supporting Melissa during this difficult time and escaping an unsafe situation. My sister Sarah called me that night, her voice tense. Brian, Melissa's mother cornered me at the grocery store. She said some horrible things about you, said you had anger issues, that you threw things when you were mad. That's complete bullshit. You know that's not me. Of course I know, but she's telling everyone who'll listen. Marcus advised me to start documenting everything and gathering character witnesses. My boss wrote a letter about my professionalism. Diane and other co-workers vouched for my character. James collected photos of me with Emma, evidence of the nursery I'd painted, receipts for baby supplies I'd bought. Then came the coffee shop incident. I was grabbing lunch when I spotted Melissa by the counter. My heart nearly stopped. For a second, I thought Emma might be with her, but she wasn't. Melissa! She turned, her eyes widening before narrowing to slits. What do you want? Where's Emma? Is she okay? It's been 3 weeks since I've seen my daughter. She's fine, better than fine now that she's away from you. You know that's not true. Why are you doing this? She laughed, loud enough for others to hear. Playing the victim as usual? This is exactly why I left. Your manipulation, your control issues. People were staring now. My face burned. I just want to see my daughter. You'll be hearing from my lawyer. Stay away from us. She stormed out, leaving me standing there, humiliated. But something unexpected happened. The barista slid me a napkin with her number. I heard everything. That was messed up. Call me if you need a witness. I've seen her in here before with some older guy. They didn't look like they were trying to escape anything. I added her statement to my growing file. Marcus was building our case, and for the first time since Melissa left, I felt a flicker of hope. I would fight for Emma with everything I had. The barista's tip was just the beginning. Marcus suggested we dig deeper into Melissa's past relationships. People rarely change their patterns. If she's capable of this level of deception now, there might be a history. I called our mutual college friend Jenna, who I hadn't spoken to in years. She hesitated when I explained the situation. I've been seeing Melissa's posts online. She's saying some pretty intense stuff about you. None of it's true, Jenna. She abandoned our home with Emma while I was at work. Now she's living with some rich executive she was apparently seeing behind my back. Silence on the line. Then, that sounds familiar, actually. What do you mean? Before you, Melissa was with that grad student, remember? Alex. She told everyone he was controlling and jealous, that she had to escape, but I ran into his roommate months later who said she'd been cheating with her professor. The whole victim story was a cover. My mind raced. She's doing the exact same thing to me. There's more. Last week, she told me you neglected Emma, that you never helped with midnight feedings, but last month she complained that you were too controlling about the baby's schedule. Her stories don't add up. After hanging up with Jenna, I scrolled through Melissa's social media. The campaign she was waging was strategic and vicious. Photos of her and Emma with captions about new beginnings and finding safety. Comments from her supporters calling me a monster. No direct accusations, just enough innuendo to paint a damning picture. Marcus connected me with a digital forensics expert who recovered deleted messages from Melissa's cloud backup, still linked to our shared account she'd forgotten about. I hit the jackpot, I told James over beers. Messages between her and Richard going back 14 months, plans to start fresh once the baby was born. She even told him I was infertile and she had to use a donor. That's sick, man. Your name is on the birth certificate, right? Yeah, thank God for that. Sarah found old friends from Melissa's hometown who shared stories of her dramatic exits from previous relationships, always casting herself as the victim, always moving on to someone with more money or status. I actually feel sorry for this Richard guy, Sarah said. He has no idea what's coming once she's done with him. 2 days before our court date, Marcus called me into his office. Documents covered every surface. We've built a solid case showing a pattern of fraudulent behavior and parental alienation, but we need to be strategic about how we present this. What's our approach? First, we let her tell her story. She'll paint herself as the victim, probably get emotional. We don't challenge it initially. And then we systematically dismantle every claim with documented evidence, text messages, witness statements, timeline inconsistencies. We present the barista's testimony about seeing her with Richard months before she left. We show the financial transfers from Richard to her personal account while you were still together. Will it be enough? With what we have, I think so. But there's one more thing that would seal it. What's that? If we could get Richard himself to see the pattern, because eventually he'll be the next victim of her manipulation. The plan was falling into place. By the time we were done, Melissa's carefully constructed facade would crumble for everyone to see. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Marcus sat beside me at one table while Melissa and her attorney were at the other. Richard sat directly behind her, his expression smug. I'd barely slept the night before, but adrenaline kept me alert. All rise for the Honorable Judge Catherine Winters. Judge Winters was a stern-looking woman in her 60s who didn't waste time on pleasantries. We're here to determine custody arrangements for Emma Montgomery, age 4 months. I understand both parties are seeking primary custody. Let's begin. Melissa's attorney presented first, painting me as neglectful, potentially violent, and unstable. My client feared for her safety and that of her child. She took the only action a responsible mother could. Melissa took the stand, dabbing crocodile tears. I was afraid all the time. He would get so angry over little things. I couldn't raise my daughter in that environment. When it was our turn, Marcus approached the bench. Your Honor, we have evidence that will show Miss Montgomery's claims are not only false, but part of a calculated pattern of behavior. He started methodically, presenting the timeline of text messages between Melissa and Richard, financial records showing transfers dating back to before Emma's birth, and statements from multiple witnesses. The barista from Cloudbreak Coffee is present today and can testify to seeing Miss Montgomery and Mr. Harlow behaving intimately months before she claims to have escaped her marriage. Melissa's face grew paler with each piece of evidence. When Jenna testified about the identical pattern with Melissa's ex-boyfriend Alex, Richard visibly stiffened in his seat. The breaking point came when Marcus presented Melissa's messages to Richard, claiming I was infertile. As you can see, Your Honor, the paternity test confirms Mr. Montgomery is indeed Emma's biological father, contrary to what Miss Montgomery told her paramour. Melissa jumped up. He's twisting everything. You don't understand what I've been through. Miss Montgomery, control yourself or I'll hold you in contempt, Judge Winters warned. Melissa turned to Richard. Tell them how he treated me. But Richard was already standing, gathering his coat. Without a word, he walked out of the courtroom. The betrayal on Melissa's face was almost satisfying. You're leaving? Now! Richard, come back here! Her composure completely shattered. This is all lies. They're all against me. Judge Winters banged her gavel. That's enough. We'll take a 15-minute recess. In the hallway, James clapped my shoulder. She's imploding, man. Richard looked like he'd seen a ghost. When court resumed, Melissa was noticeably subdued. Judge Winters didn't take long to deliver her decision. Based on the overwhelming evidence presented, I find Miss Montgomery's claims of abuse to be unsubstantiated and deliberately misleading. Primary physical custody is awarded to Mr. Montgomery, with Miss Montgomery granted supervised visitation pending completion of a psychological evaluation and parenting classes. 2 hours later, I was holding Emma for the first time in nearly 2 months. Her tiny hand wrapped around my finger, and everything else faded away. That evening, Sarah showed me Melissa's social media. Her supporters were abandoning her in droves as screenshots of the court transcripts circulated. Her employer had placed her on leave pending an investigation into character concerns. It's over, Sarah said. You won. I looked down at Emma, sleeping peacefully in my arms. We both did. What would you have done if you were in Brian's position? Would you have exposed all of Melissa's lies publicly or handled things more privately to protect your child from future drama? Is complete victory over a toxic ex worth the potential long-term consequences? If you've ever dealt with someone who tried to manipulate others against you, drop a comment below and share how you handled it. Your experience might help someone going through something similar right now. If you enjoyed this revenge story, please hit that like button so others can find it too. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories about overcoming toxic people and finding justice. New videos every day.